Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the microphone, standing 6 feet tall, weighing in tonight at 155 and 1/2 pounds, he is the High Ranger, the mess from the West, King Mando! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have just finished watching AEW's pay-per-view All Out, and let me tell you, what a goddamn ride. That was a really strong showing from them. I really enjoyed most of the matches. They got their stories told. There was some good high spots. I'm going to get it and break it down each and every match. That starting from the top, we started with Dr. Britt Baker versus Big Swole in a tooth and nail match. Really interesting concept for the match. Obviously not filmed in the ring, or any action in the ring. Was obviously a pre-recorded segment and everything, but that's all right. The way they went about this match was kind of creative, shot in that cinematic style the big league started to use around WrestleMania time and stuff like that, when the crowd started to disappear.
Is that blood? DNA of some sort.
I think it was a good little experiment. I don't know if that was the best showcase for that. Obviously, two great competitors. The storyline's a bit janky by now. We all know who was going to win the match at the end and all that. But there were some really funny parts, and I think that's the beauty of this cinematic style of match. It allows creativity, both with the spots, but also, extra props being used. There's some great moments, threatening to use the electric drill on Big Swole from Britt Baker. That was really interesting. And I just say this, full respect to her as a competitor and everything, and as a side gig, but Reba is just, oh my god, I every move I've watched her pull has just been sloppy or not up to scratch. I don't quite get why why she's involved in this or getting herself involved physically. She's as good at being the little side partner of Britt Baker and protecting her and stuff like that, but yeah, most moves I've seen her pull have just not been impressive in any way. I think, again, that cinematic match has some creativity to it. Firstly, being in a dentist office is quite a novel concept for a wrestling match, but they use things like at one stage Big Swole injected Britt Baker with some Novocaine. I thought that was actually pretty awesome. I've never seen someone injected with Novocaine during a wrestling match. That was pretty funny. And then to use it again with the mask and to knock out Britt was a bit stiff. I think it probably deserved a better ending than that, whether she get dumped in a dumpster or something like that. I'm not too sure. But using the Novocaine a second time was funny, but it had less impact than the first time. Obviously, a syringe is much more impactful to the eyes than seeing someone have a mask put on them and choked out. So I think it was a bit of a cop-out to use that for the second time, but hey, as I always reiterate, I'm not a match writer or anything like that. I'm just a fan with some opinions, and I hope you all appreciate them. Big Swole got up in that match. I don't know where she's going to go next. I mean, it's likely she'll probably challenge Shida for the title, but I'll get to Shida's match a little bit later. But I mean, has she really earned it after just having a beat Britt Baker? And I mean, what's Britt going to go on to after this? Maybe she'll get into a fight with I don't even know what she's going to do. I think it'll be interesting to see where her character goes. Obviously, she's a little bit unhinged, as they say, so watching her go about her business for the next couple of weeks should be quite interesting. I think she could, become more unhinged and just start attacking random people. That'd be a good little vicious edge from Dr. Britt Baker. But yeah, I'm a bit lost as to where these two go from here, except for thinking Swole's going to get a title shot in the future, or at least a number one contender match. So yeah, that match led off All Out, which in itself was a bit of a weird aspect of it. You get the big fireworks intro, JR welcoming us all to All Out, but then it shoots straight to a pre-recorded match. I can't imagine what that must have been for the crowd. I don't know. Probably not my best idea. Maybe cut it after the first match, because the next match after that was the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express. Obviously, they had that match on the most recent episode of Dynamite to determine who was going to verse who. And let me tell you, these guys put on a show. This is one of the best matches of the night. And I mean, you'd expect no less from four super talented wrestlers that we have there: Matt and Nick Jackson, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy. But Yeah, it was quite interesting. The Bucks came out as some pretty strong, aggressive heels, obviously playing up to the crowd since they kicked Hangman out of the Elite and everything like that. And again, in that match last week, they showed some really renewed aggression, which for me, honestly, is a refreshing take on the Young Bucks. For a while, for me, they've been quite stale as characters, just that happy-go-lucky. We're just excellent in the ring. We're just an excellent tag team. We're just brothers who started from the backyard and made it to the big leagues. I mean, good on them and full respect for what they're doing, but yeah, the character just got a little bit stale. So seeing this aggressive edge to me is a really shift in the right direction for them. I look forward to them challenging for the World Tag Team titles in the future. I think this aggression is going to lead them over the edge for a few matches. Probably get themselves into contendership, which is going to be really good. Whoever they're in the ring with, it's going to be a stellar match. The Jackson brothers can just really, really go, and both super, super talented. Jungle Boy got beat up for most of the match, as usually happens. Luchasaurus comes in and saves the day. But can I just say, Luchasaurus, what a performance, young man. You were absolutely spectacular. The flexibility of this fella is just unbelievable. He's throwing wheel kicks, spin kicks. At one stage, he did a moonsault off, just standing from the apron onto the two Young Bucks. That was pretty impressive. And then later on in the match, near the conclusion, he jumped off the top rope into the crowd with one of the Young Bucks in there. That was a huge spot from him, especially seeing such a big fella fly through the air. It's not something that we see every day. But you know, as soon as the match started, you sort of knew who was gonna win. Young Bucks obviously picked up the victory there, number 3 tag team in AEW at the moment. Surely that'll see their stock rise. They're gonna challenge for the title soon. It's just an inevitability. I don't know when. I don't know who against. We'll find out a little bit later. But they will challenge for the tag titles, and I don't think that they can win it. I don't think they should win it either. You know, being faces of the company and everything like that, it seems a bit cheap to have them as the tag team champions as well as, you know, founders / executives / whatever else their title is. Big fans of their work, but yeah, probably shouldn't stick the strap on them, in my opinion. I think it could be on some more deserving tag teams together and see some other tag teams get up in the contendership, you know? After that wicked tag team match, the show kept on rolling with one of the matches I was most excited for coming into this pay-per-view, the Casino Royale battle match. Really interesting concept, you know, groups of 5 coming in every 3 minutes. It does make for a long setup to a match, but, you know, people like Christopher Daniels got eliminated before the second group came in, so it was thinned out by the time the 5th group came in, and it was really cool, can I just say, seeing Matt Sydal, formerly known as Evan Bourne, come in as the Joker card. He's obviously a very talented young man. It was a shame that he botched his shooting star press onto Will Hobbs at the start, but, you know, these things happen in wrestling. I think they covered up by saying there was some perspiration on the on the turnbuckles and stuff like that, hence why he slipped. It was a good cover there from Taz in commentary for his 2 guys. It was a really good showing from Jake Hager. He's obviously built up to be the monster of Inner Circle. He came in the first group and lasted a really, really long time. Showed his dominance by eliminating a few people. Didn't get a chance to go toe-to-toe with a few of the bigger boys like I was sort of hoping he could. I mean, I didn't even think of him in the big boys category, you know, with Butch, Cage, and Lance Archer and everything like that. But he definitely fits that bill. With boy is an absolute monster. Watching him just throw people around the ring is quite impressive. Will Hobbs came in the second group. If you've been watching AEW on that, this boy is just absolutely massive. He can go. I mean, there's him and Brian Cage are probably equal biggest rigs in AEW. I mean, these guys just have muscles on top of their muscles. And there was a couple of moments there where you went toe-to-toe with some of the best wrestlers that AEW has to offer. You know, like he stood up to Cage, he stood up to Archer. He was in there for a really, really, really long time. And I think that's a real sign of belief that the company has in him. Hopefully he can get a bit of a push, maybe challenge for a TNT title or something like that. That'd be cool. Or even if he just, you know, mills about around the mid to high level card, that'd be really good because he's a force to be reckoned with, and I think more screen time for him, the better. The really, really interesting thing about this Casino Battle Royale was that there were a lot of stories sort of colliding within one match. Obviously, with 21 people, there's a lot going on, a lot of stories being fit into one match, and we have the likes of the Best Friends versus Santana and Ortiz. That's a huge storyline that's been going on since Santana and Ortiz destroyed the Best Friends minivan that Trent's mum so lovely provided an escort to the ring for them. You also have Darby Allin with Cage and Starks, another one that's been played out for a long time. I think it hasn't really shown off how strong Brian Cage really is, obviously always having a double team or do the dirty work for Ricky Starks. But, it is what it is. That's the decision. He's obviously a monster that needs to throw his weight around, which is fine. And then, we obviously had Eddie Kingston versus everyone, which is one of my favorite storylines in the world. Eddie Kingston just throwing down to the world and whoever comes in front of him.
This is what I was talking about. This is what Tully was talking about. Intelligence.
So obviously in a strong position with this match with 5 entrants from his posse. He had Rey Fenix, who actually got eliminated quite early, I thought. I thought he was be able to provide some good spots and everything, but I mean, over-the-top battle royale doesn't really suit a person who lives on the top rope. Penta as well didn't last that long. Another person who, again, lives around the ropes, so probably not the best type of match for him. Butcher and Blade really had a decent showing. Blade really showed out. He's just so fantastic in the ring. I could watch him work all day long. Pretty sure Butcher was in one of the final 4 people, so that's a really good sign for him. Seeing these guys get in deep was really fantastic. One moment that really didn't quite make sense. I know they had to fill out the numbers, but having Billy Gunn come in, land a sick move, and just get eliminated straight away was a bit like, oh, why do you even bother coming in to land that sick move when he just got tossed out a few seconds later? The Gun Club's coming up. I've seen their results on Dark lately. They've been quite good. I haven't seen them lose in recent memory, but seeing them guys go out, or seeing him just come in and go out was quite a bit of a shock. And then the Best Friends as well. Like a couple of weeks ago, we saw Chucky T potentially injure his knee in a match. Obviously, the FTR got the submission in that gauntlet match to get the tag team title shot on him with an inverse figure 4 leg lock. But Chucky T was out very early. In fact, he even got a knife stick to the back from Santana on the way into the ring. And I mean, it sort of leans the way of me thinking that he does have an injury. Obviously, getting taken out before the start of the match means he can sit out for a little bit, catch his breath, not do as much work, but still, participate and stuff like that. And yeah, in the end, Trent ended up lasting way longer than what I thought he would. It's a really good showing from Trent. Really, really good. I see big, bright things in his future. But one of the really shocking moments that happened was Sonny Kiss actually eliminated Jake Hager, and that as soon as he came into the 5th group, which was, for me, a real big shock. I honestly thought Jake Hager would be one of the final 4 people. He's hasn't got much of a push since he's come into AEW, had that initial world title shot, but since then he's sort of been the enforcer for the Inner Circle, which, I mean, suits him perfectly. He's great at that role, and I really do like him as that. But since then, hasn't really competed much in matches, and whether or not that's his MMA career coming into play and not wanting to risk injury or anything like that. But I'm seeing him get eliminated by Sonny Kiss was a huge pop for me. I got up off my chair and celebrated for that one. Like, good on you, Sonny, getting one over. So I think maybe that might mean some big things for Sonny Kiss in the future, which I think would be, a really good thing to happen. Obviously partnered up with Joey Janela every now and then, and coming out to defend Janela's honor last week when he versed Chris Jericho and everything. So, maybe those two as a tag team can get a bit of a push. I've been very vocal of how I feel about Joey Janela. He's not so fantastic in my eyes. I just don't understand the character or what his value is. He's not really doing a whole lot for me, but it is what it is. The Casino Royale match, it was really good. It's tough to pull off big spots in that match because obviously an over-the-top rope battle royale, so it suits the bigger guys. So straight away you knew someone like Brian Cage or a Lance Archer or an Eddie Kingston or a Butcher or something like that would be the winner of this match, because the little guys, they could pick them boys up with one hand and throw them outside. So we all knew it was going to be a big boy in the end. Brian Cage, super impressive in that match. Some of the stuff this man can do for the size that he is just absolutely phenomenal. Throwing hurricanranas, wheel kicks, springboarding over people. Really blew me away. I mean, I knew he was a big, powerful guy, and I knew he could go in the ring, but showing off some stuff like this really was a great little showcase of his ability. Obviously, he'll be a contender in the future as well. There's a couple of good moments a couple of weeks ago. I was calling for Archer and Cage to go toe-to-toe, and finally it happened. They started slugging right hands on each other, which was a fantastic moment. Huge pop for the crowd. Everyone wanted it, and they finally delivered. It was just a matter of time. I knew in the end that they would go toe-to-toe. It's too premium of a spot for them not to miss out on something like that and get a good pop from the crowd, reinvigorate them if the match starts lulling a little bit. So, yeah, really good. In the end, the final two people in the Casino Battle Royale match were Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer. It was kind of a bit weird that Jake Roberts got involved and started showing the snake to Eddie Kingston, who's apparently deathly afraid of snakes. So influenced the end of the match by opening his bag and probably having their version of Damien in there and everything. And Archer just booted him off the edge for Lance Archer to win a future world title shot. Who it's against, we will find that out later. But yeah, I feel like this could have been played out a bit more. Obviously, usually the final two people in a battle royal have a little bit of a duke out before someone ends up going over the top rope. But hey, it is what it is. They obviously have a time limit and everything like that, wanting to get it done to fit in everything else. Archer winning, really, really interesting move. It's going to be, I think he was one of my predictions. I mean, I was chopping and changing all over the place and have been for many weeks as to who would win this match. It's not a real big surprise, like I was saying. A big guy was always going to win this match, so Archer winning is good. It's going to be interesting to see how they play him from here. He's obviously an absolute beast, but he has lost to Cody, so it doesn't put a lot of strength in my conviction that he will win the title when he challenges for it. Just because if he can't win the TNT title, there's no reason to bypass that on his way to being the world champion, unless they just want to skip straight to it and give him the strap and just have this absolute crazy man run rampant across everyone. There's not much really that they can do aside from that. I think it's going to be interesting regardless of who he versus next time. I mean, there's also an ambiguity about when the next match will be held. Is it going to be at the next pay-per-view? Is it going to be on a random episode of Dynamite when they want to get some viewers, around the time of the NBA Finals? So there's a lot that really plays into this at the moment. So Archer winning, yes, I don't mind it. It could have been done better, yes. Am I upset that it's happened? No. I think in the end, it's a good rub for him. And I mean, him and Eddie Kingston as well being the final two, great rubs for both of them. Eddie Kingston obviously only been in that match with Cody, had a really good showing in that. But since then, has become the mouthpiece for this Butcher Blade, Ray Phoenix, and Penta faction that's come together. So not surprised that he was in the end. He's been hyped up and pushed a lot, especially by the commentary team. You hear them talking about him and the stuff that he does. Very strong competitor. I love him on the microphone. I think it's a sign that those two guys are going to be probably in the main event scene in the near future, which personally I'm a big fan of. It's good to bring some mixture up in there, especially two contrasting styles, like someone as crazy as Lance Archer against just an absolute hardcore brawler that is Eddie Kingston. It'd be a great moment if Eddie Kingston wins the AEW World Championship at some stage this year. I would love that. Just he's earned it. He's earned getting the strap in a major company. So seeing him do that would be a really big, fantastic moment for me as a long-time wrestling fan. The next match in the All Out card was Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara, the Spanish God. Now, there's a lot of bad blood brewing here, literally. Placement of the match on the card was quite interesting, especially considering it came after the Casino Battle Royale. It started with a bit of a pre-recorded segment, or maybe it was a live segment. I'm not too sure. They started in the back with Sammy hunting Matt down in a gopher and everything. But really early on in the match, a very scary moment occurred. Matt Hardy I don't know if he went for the side effect or if he got pushed off of the scissor lift by Sammy, but they both went through a table and it looked like Matt missed the spot by a good 1.5 feet and smashed his head on the concrete. Straight away, Aubrey checked on in and he was motionless and she threw up the X. I thought it was a wrap. And, Not that he has a history of concussions. I think every wrestler has a history of concussions in some way, shape, or form. But, he did take that legit chair shot to the face less than a month ago that busted him open. So his head's obviously gone through a fair bit of trauma recently. And they actually stopped the match. Sammy stormed away just to be calm down for the story, but also just to probably be explained to him what's going on and what they can do from here. But seemed like, there was a stage where Matt tried to get up and throw a punch and he just fell flat on his ass. You could tell he was not in a good way. Very, very scary moment in the match. He looked ill when he got up from this. He honestly, if you've seen All Out, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It looked like he couldn't even throw a punch. And, from there, for some reason, the match got restarted. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I know there's a lot of athletes' discretion in this, but they do have a doctor there who needs to check on them. And if you've read the reports and everything like that, Matt went to hospital and got checked out and did have a concussion after the match. So he was obviously not in a good state. But alas, the match actually continued, and it finished quite quickly, as you'd expect after such a shocking moment like that, or a dangerous moment like that. But, it didn't finish with a nice, safe moment, a quick pin or anything like that. Sammy started to climb the scaffolding. Eventually, Matt just landed a right hand, and he fell off the scaffolding through the stage and couldn't meet the 10 count. I think that was always probably going to be the planned finish. I think Matt was always going to win this match, especially when he threatened to leave AEW. Like, why would he do that when he's only just joined the company in the last few months? And, throwing that on the line sort of cinched the deal. As soon as I heard that, I figured, Matt's going to win this match. And I imagine this, again, was the planned spot for the finish. Sammy going through the stage off of the scaffolding. But I imagine they had plenty more stuff and more carnage involved for us. Obviously, a quicker match like that reduced the time crunch on other people. And I think it caused a couple of other matches to extend out or something like that, because this match was definitely finished way quicker than it should have been. And scary, scary moment for Matt Hardy. Thank God he's okay now, having come out of hospital and everything like that. But yeah, in the future, there's a lot of talk about AEW needing to rein in their talent and stuff like that. That was just a freak accident. Matt Hardy's done a table spot. Oh, God, I can't even count how many times he's done a table spot in his life. So I think I might have just been accidentally missing the mark. And doing it from a scissor lift obviously is not the best place to do it compared to, solid footing on a stage or on, the walkways or something like that. So I don't think there's any need for AEW to rein in their talent. I think they're putting on a great product. And if anything, it might even add to the hardcoreness of it and the legitimacy of the company. This feud's probably over and done with now. I can't imagine it going much further now that Sammy hasn't answered a 10 count. What it means for him as a wrestler and everything like that is a bit interesting. I imagine he'll probably fade into the obscurity a little bit with the Inner Circle and stuff. And he sort of already has. As I mentioned last week, he had that card promo that he always does, but it was shown in the picture-in-picture moment, which to me, he deserves better than that. He's one of the more up-and-coming talents, and I think a light needs to be shone on him a little bit more often. He's an uber-talented kid, and just having him done in the pay-per-view and then being beaten by Matt, not answering the 10 count, it's a bit, again, ambiguous as to where he goes. It's offering a bit of it could be a positive, and he could be offering a fresh start, with this more aggressive version of Sammy Guevara. But yeah, I'm unsure where he goes from here. Same with Matt Hardy. I think he should probably take a little time off, recover completely from this concussion. It was a bloody bad one. Let me tell you, he looked fucked up. He was in all sorts. So hopefully he can take some time off and, really just come back a stronger, better version. He says he's unkillable, but man, if you take many more of those sort of spots, you're going to be toast. So after that match, we had one of my favorite matches for the night, and one I was super looking forward to. Had a lot of hype surrounding it. Obviously, champion versus champion. It was Hikaru Shida versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW women's title, and Thunder Rosa obviously being the NWA women's champion, which was not on the line in this match. However, it had a lot of hype surrounding it. Obviously, Thunder Rosa, one of the best female wrestlers going around. Same with Hikaru Shida. Both very, very talented. So straight away, you knew this match was going to be absolutely hot. And it was. It was a fantastic match. I absolutely adore Thunder Rosa. I think she is just fantastic. Everything from the moves she does to her psychology in the ring to her mannerisms to her look. She's absolutely wonderful. One of the best female professional wrestlers I've seen in a long, long time. I mean, the thing that sort of buzzed me out at the beginning was that the match was given a time limit of 16 minutes, which I think they could have gone for longer and put on an even stronger match. But also, with the Matt and Sammy match finishing quicker, you'd think they might have, extended it a little bit and given them a 20-minute time limit, or even longer. For me, a championship match should have a 30-minute time limit at the very least. But these girls went at it, and they gave it everything that they had for as long as they could. It was absolutely fantastic. And I mean, Shida has some vicious knees throughout the match. In fact, I reckon she used it maybe 4 or 5 times. But Thunder Rosa with her impact moves were just on another level, absolutely another level. At one stage, she landed this, looked like a Death Valley driver on the ring apron, which we all know is the most unforgiving place. And good on Shida for taking that spot, because that would have been a very stiff spot for her to take. And really just both women got the ability to showcase what they were all about. And let me tell you, Shida came off as a strong champion, because in the end, she ended up pinning Thunder Rosa in, if I'm honest, a bit of a shock. I mean, it was such a close match. It got me rooting for thinking for Thunder Rosa that she might be a chance to steal this victory. But in the end, once the match finished and I thought about it, I was like, well, it's a bit difficult. She's obviously contracted to NWA. I doubt AEW and NWA have much of a partnership going outside of this at the moment. Hopefully they can strengthen their bonds. There's some great wrestlers in NWA, so hopefully there can be a bit more crossover with that. But I think it was always a bit of a false hope that she would knock off the AEW Women's Champion and become that fighting champion, or as Excalibur mentioned, a triple champion, having been the NWA champion, a champion in China for an unpronounceable, with an unpronounceable title, the Princess Champion, I think it was, or something like that. But I mean, really, in the end, Thunder Rosa, even though she got pinned in the end, I don't think she really lost this match in a sense. She showcased her talent to a greater audience, and she showed that she is one of the elite female wrestlers in the world. And I am a firm believer and an absolute converted fan to Thunder Rosa. She blew me away with just her ability to go in the ring, throwing all sorts of moves from left and right, just strong performance from both these women. I don't know if the match exceeded the time limits. It did go on for a while, and like I said, 16 minutes isn't really long enough, but the match definitely did drag on for a while. I don't quite know the timing of it yet, but I mean, if it got close to 16 minutes, that's a hellacious 16 minutes. Definitely one of the best women's matches that I've seen in the last couple of months. I mean, AEW does have a lot of strong women's wrestlers, but yeah, definitely not at the same level as Thunder Rosa and Shida together. Those two just tore the place down. And I mean, good timing for the match after, Sammy and Matt's match finished. I think it would have always followed that. But yeah, really good to get the crowd back to being involved, and really hot, because this match got them right up and about. Obviously a limited crowd in at Daly's Place at the moment. But yeah, everyone was involved in this match, and it was just a really wonderful contest, many near falls. It was tough to predict who was going to win. Like I said, for a while there, I thought Thunder Rosa might actually be able to get up and pin Shida and become a triple champion. But alas, it wasn't to be. Shida ended up retaining her title, which I'm quite happy about. I think I hope that the flood of women's wrestlers coming in to challenge her continues. I think this is a good little storyline, and it's good showcasing that she's a fighting champ, willing to take on anybody, really any stage. I think that's what a champion needs to be. Obviously, they've kept that ethos running throughout different championships. Cody's reign as a TNT with the TNT champion with the Open Challenge sort of had many different wrestlers come in. Sure, it was a lot of debuting wrestlers for AEW, but they had to be plucked from somewhere and everything like that. So yeah, really, really strong showing from these girls. I look forward to seeing if Thunder Rosa comes back to AEW, maybe seeking a bit of revenge, because now she's 1-1. She beats Serena Deeb, as I've mentioned last week in the most recent episode of Dynamite. But yeah, just a really, really strong showing from these women. I don't think, obviously, Hikaru Shida wins. Strong showing from her, can be nothing but positive momentum for her. And again, even in a loss, I think Thunder Rosa can look at this with some positives in terms of her character, her ability to sell main events, and been an absolute megastar in the female wrestling world, and I think that's what she's destined before. She is going to be one of the biggest female wrestlers I think this generation's going to see.